Hello class, we're going to go ahead and look back at our factoring notes from yesterday. So it's the ones that should say at the top, ax squared plus bx, and it was plus c. So I'm going to show you another method that you can go ahead and use to factor trinomials where there is a number in front of the x squared. It is called factoring by grouping. And to do this, we're going to look at 6, 7, and 8. Hopefully you did this by doing the reverse FOIL that I showed you on the last video, but we're also going to do it by grouping. So this is by grouping. Okay. The way you do this is you would say, well, you take 10 times 5. 10 times 5 gives me 50. Then what I need to do is think of my factors of 50 that will add to negative 27, the middle number. Okay, I need to think what will multiply to 50. So multiply, but sum or add to negative 27. Well, I know that 25 times 2 gives me 50, and if I make them both negative, that would add to negative 27. Then what I go ahead and do is I rewrite my trinomial. I would have 10x squared, and here's where it comes in. I rewrite negative 27x as negative 25x minus 2x plus 5. Because if you were to go ahead and combine like terms, negative 27x minus 2x, that would give you negative 27. The next thing that I go ahead and do is I group. I look at the first two numbers, and then I look at the second two numbers. So I look at the first two and I say, what can I factor out of here? I know that 10 and 25 are both divisible by 5, and I can also divide both by an x. So if I do that, I would have 2x minus 5 in parentheses. And now I go ahead and I look at the second group. I want to have something that is the same, and it's what is in this parenthesis here. Well, if I look here and at this one, it's almost the same, except for I need to factor out a negative 1. So minus 1, and then it's 2x minus 5. Now I go ahead and look at my new result, and I see that, well, I have a 2x minus 5 and a 2x minus 5, so I can factor that out. So I would have 2x minus 5 times whatever is left. And whatever is left here is 5x minus 1. This should have been what you got when you factored it using the reverse FOIL method. Okay. I do want to point out that this answer is exactly the same as if I were to write 5x minus 1 times 2x minus 5. Either one of those is correct, just so that we're all clear. Okay, let's go ahead and do 7 using the grouping method. Okay, so I would take 6 times 1. So I'm going to do it right here. 6 times 1 will give me 6. And now I think of my factors of 6 that will add to 5. Well, what adds to 5 but multiplies to 6? I need to have positive 6. So 2 and 3. So now I go ahead and I rewrite 5x. So I will still have 6x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 1. Once again, notice they came from here. 2x plus 3x will add back to 5x if I combine my like terms. Now I go ahead and group. First two and the last two. Some people may ask, if I were to have switched the 2x and the 3x around, it will still work. You'll still get the same answer. So there isn't a specific order you need to put it into. I look at the group of the first two, and I notice that I can factor out a 2x. And then I see that I will have 3x plus 1. And same thing here. I always will have something that's the same. Look at, I have 3x plus 1 and 3x plus 1 here. So in this case, this is where I would factor out a 1. Because 1 times 3x plus 1 will just give us back 3x plus 1. Then to go ahead and get my factored trinomial, I would have what's in parentheses already, 3x plus 1, because I factor that out, and then what's left? 2x plus 1. And once again, this is what you should have got when you factored using the reverse FOIL method earlier. Number 8. Same thing. I take my first and my last term and I multiply them. 6 times 20 is 120. My factors of 120 that add to negative 23. So to go ahead and get the factors of that, I would think to myself, well, what are my factors of 120? But I need it to go to negative 23. So you just start listing them out. I could say 3 times 40 or 30 times 4. And there's all kinds of different options. And then I would come up with that 15 times 8 will give me 120. In this case, I need to get to negative 23, but positive 120. So it'd be negative 15 minus 8, because when I add those two together, I get negative 23. And when I multiply them, I get positive 20. Now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite, trying to find room. So I would have 6x squared minus 15x minus 8x plus 20. Then I would go ahead and group the first two and the last two. I would look at the first part and I would notice that I can factor out a 3x. So I would have 2x minus 5. And then I would notice that out of the next one I can factor out a negative 4. So I would have 2x minus 5. And once again, I would have 2x minus 5 and 2x minus 5 in one set of parentheses. And the other is what I have left over, so 3x minus 4. And once again, this should be what you have left after you go ahead and do the grouping. And here it is. Okay. So go ahead, you can stop the video, and please let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day.